Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back for another video. As always, a free way you can support this channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. But anyway, let's just go ahead and dive right in. So when I woke up this morning, I had a different video in mind when Bitcoin was down to $48,700. And then out of nowhere, within a span of an hour, it went to $51,300, if I remember correctly. And so now I'm just kind of like, what are we going? What's next for Bitcoin? We're in no man's land still. It's one of these things. Would love to get to the bull market support band, which is at about $52,500 or so to get on top of the 21-week EMA, the weekly 21 EMA. And so we're in no man's land. Somebody asked me on Twitter yesterday, should I buy now or should I wait? And what I wanted to see is will we get rejected at the bull market support band? And that's exactly what happened. And then we went down. And so at this point, it's one of these things where it's like we could sweep the lows. We could go down to $42,000. That is still in play. Overall, I'm bullish though. And so everything that I've been talking about on this channel, it's extremely bullish. And I do want to be clear, that is for medium term. That's not, all the Glassnode information that I share of illiquid supply of exchange balances, that's not always going to be reflected in the short term, but it's the longer you stretch this out, so from days to weeks and months, the more that's going to be reflected in the price of Bitcoin. And so, yeah, in general, I am a bull, but there's a possibility, sure, that we could sweep the lows. And how likely is it? I don't know, but basically, as far as buying is concerned, two different points that I'll buy is above the bull market support band, get above it, hold it as support, I'll start buying again. In general, I'm pretty much all in, so I won't be buying necessarily, but if you're looking to put new entries in, that's where I would say number one would be above the bull market support band. Number two would be, you see Bitcoin get under $45,000. I think that would be a good point to start entering back in. So one of those two. I did the same thing in the summer. The big thing that I told people was between $30,000 and $42,000, I was only adding Bitcoin and Ethereum to my portfolio. Those brief moments when Bitcoin got under $30,000, I was very aggressively buying altcoins. And then when it got above $42,000, a confirmation, in my opinion, that was where we were getting back above the bull market support band, I would say, yeah, that was a good time to start buying alts again, because alts do well above the bull market support band, but they do very poorly below. So again, I mean, if you're looking for entries on alts, you're just in a weird spot right now. I do want to talk about Ethereum briefly. Ethereum is holding up very well. It's about $400 below its all-time high. I mean, if Bitcoin was doing the same thing, it would still be in the $60,000 range. So Ethereum's looking very strong. And this is my biggest holding in my portfolio. I know username World War Bitcoin, but the thing that I tell people is over the next 10 years, I am more bullish on Ethereum than I am on Bitcoin. Over the rest of my life, my bet is on Bitcoin and nothing else. But for the next decade, yeah, Ethereum more than Bitcoin. And sure, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these cryptocurrencies outperform Bitcoin over the next decade, but I also wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them went to zero. So for me, sticking with Ethereum is good enough. Yeah, sure, other things may outperform Ethereum as well, but this is more of a sure thing to me. And given the volatility of crypto in general and the craziness of it, that's enough. If people outperform me by aping into something else, fine. I'm happy with Ethereum. But Ethereum balances on exchanges is wild. It's, this is 15 months ago, September of 2020, Ethereum balances on exchanges topped out. That was its all-time high. There will never ever be more than 22 million ETH on exchanges. This right here climbed up since the day of its inception, reached a peak. Now it's going back down, and now it's down to 14 million ETH in a span of 15 months. That's a third of the supply of ETH on exchanges in 15 months going down. This is depleting itself at an accelerated rate in comparison to Bitcoin. I mean, this is why I'm very bullish on Bitcoin over the next decade, over the next 4 years, whatever you want to call it, is because it's something similar. Well, it's even crazier for ETH. And then when ETH 2.0 launches and they're done away with mining forever, 13,000 ETH mined per day, going down to 1,300 or so for staking rewards, this is going to be insane. It's going to be absolutely insane. I'm excited to see where ETH is, and I am happy that this is my biggest holding. A lot of people even for them, Ethereum is not promising enough. And I would say, you've got to have, I've talked about this a lot, you've got to have a conviction level belief portfolio, that it needs to be mostly conviction level belief stuff and not things that you're planning on dumping at the end. And especially for times like this, where I know that if you don't have any Bitcoin, Ethereum, you're pretty much all in other altcoins, then this is a really rough time for you and you're not sleeping well at night. And this is why. Gain some conviction, gain some level of conviction. I'm going to keep on banging that drum. Yesterday, so we were on our way to $52,000. We got right close to there. And this is something that was pointed out to me. I just want to bring it up and just talk about it, and we can move on from here. But the biggest Bitcoin wallet sold 22,000 Bitcoin. Now, the last time that they did anything of significance, they sold 11,300 Bitcoin at a price of $38,394. So it's not like this person, this wallet, this entity has done incredibly well when it comes to acquiring or selling Bitcoin, but it is that's not an insignificant amount, and that contributed to the drop yesterday from $52,000 to about $50,000. And so it is what it is. It's here we gotta get above the bull market support band. That's the big thing. I would love to see the week close above that support band. If not, we'll see about the FOMC meeting next week. Two big things that I'm looking at for this week: CPI report. So this is coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on Friday morning, 2 days from now. And so I want to issue a little warning about this. I would strongly recommend that you don't root for high CPI numbers. In general, I'm not a karma guy, but I don't think that that's a good, I'll just use the word karma, I don't think that's good karma to be wishing that kind of thing on us, on the world, because, everyday people are going to suffer from higher inflation. But then also, one thing that I'll point out is, look at what happened in the last month ago when the CPI data was released. We shot up like crazy, got up to $69,000 as of right now, the all-time high, and then the smart money sold. And why is that? It's because this isn't necessarily good news. What that indicates is, all right, picture this: you are Joe Biden sitting in the White House. And what is the biggest complaint right now from the general American public? It is probably inflation. Is that maybe? I need to think about that more, but it might be inflation. And that's probably the biggest thing that he could see, or, if he's actually functioning still, what the White House can see as the biggest cloud hanging over them. And so I could see them wanting to put pressure on the Fed. Hey, we've got to get this inflation taken care of. And so what's the Fed's response going to be when the White House is pressuring them? Well, okay, we're going to do tapering. We're going to increase the tapering. We're going to decrease the quantitative easing. And so I think that what happened last month was the smart money when there was this initial reaction where we pumped to $69,000, but the smart money was like, well, you know what? This increases the Fed's possibility that we're going to taper. And so it is a catch-22. I've been in this since 2010. I remember when they introduced quantitative easing, and I didn't like it at the time. I just thought, here we go. It's going to contribute to runaway inflation sometime down the road. And I don't even really think we've seen the effects of that entirely. Yeah, we've seen it for sure. But I was not a fan of quantitative easing. And so what do you root for? Do you root for a high CPI number? Well, if you do, then we might have another fake out like this, and then the price might dump on fear that the Fed's gonna do some tapering. Or do you root for a low CPI number so that the tapering can continue? They both suck. High inflation sucks. Continuing tapering sucks. I mean, yes, continuing the quantitative easing is good for us in the short term, good for our pockets, but it's bad for the economy long term. And so we'll see. Pick your poison, but I'm going to root for the thing that is in the best interest of the American people, of the people in the world, whatever you want to call it. And so for me, I'm rooting for low CPI numbers. So here we are on a daily DXY chart, and here's November 10th. Look at what happened when, doesn't this seem counterintuitive? It probably does, right? That, on November 10th, when inflation was reported as being very high, according to the CPI, that the DXY pumped, the US dollar index pumped. And then look at it. I mean, the US dollar index rallied to a high on November 24th and then has been kind of consolidating. And that's what you can expect. That's what you should expect if you see high CPI numbers reported on Friday, is that people will expect, the smart money will expect for the Federal Reserve to increase tapering, to decrease the quantitative easing, to get inflation under control, and the dollar will rally on the news of that. And so here's a warning. I mean, if you see the high inflation numbers reported on Friday, I would sell some. I would, and if you see Bitcoin pump, have a quick reaction of pumping as a result of that, do not ape in, sell something. Or maybe not sell something, but just hold on, because I could see the DXY pumping after that. And so again, I think low inflation numbers would bring the DXY down, but then, it's another catch-22. And then the next big thing, the Federal Reserve meeting on the 14th and the 15th of next week. And so there's nothing to see here other than December 14th and 15th. What are they going to do next week? And then how will the market react to it? Because I've been saying that I think the price of Bitcoin right now, and not only Bitcoin, but the stock market as well, that they have priced it in already. So is this the opposite of a buy the rumor, sell the news type thing, or buy the hype, sell the event type thing? Is it a sell the negative hype and buy the event type thing? Or is the Fed just going to straight up say, hey, yeah, we're going to continue with the quantitative easing, pumping in this funny money into the system, and then you see everything just shoot off like crazy. So next Wednesday, next Tuesday is going to be a very interesting day. So those are the two big things I'm looking forward to, CPI and the FOMC meeting. A couple other things I want to talk about. So just another thing to report here. Glassnode reports daily on-chain exchange flow to $1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin in, 1.9 billion out. That is about 14,000 Bitcoin, another huge outflow for Bitcoin. That will be reflected in the price at some point. And then the last thing here, I shared this on my Twitter account. Follow me on Twitter, WWBitcoin, but transfer volume at a loss. Wow, this is insane. This is way beyond anything that we've ever seen. And so what happened, a lot of people bought at the top thinking we were going to go to $100,000, $200,000 right away. And instead, the market kept us on our toes. And that's something that we've got to keep in mind. The market will always keep us on our toes. We're never going to be able to see clearly exactly what's going to happen on a day-by-day basis. We can see long-term. We can see 10 years from now. I mean, we can't see necessarily, but we can in general expect the price of Bitcoin to be much higher 10 years from now than we can for tomorrow, So this is wild, just so much higher, the amount of volume transferred at a loss. And that is at some point going to be reflected in the price as well. So that is all I have for today. Just want to remind you, crypto bear market buying guide. And I want to even say one thing here, and that is I'll entertain you for a second. For those of you who believe that 69,000 was the top, which I don't think is many of you, but let's just say $69,000 was the top and Bitcoin is going to a bear market, then I still would vouch highly for the confidence that you can have in this course, because nothing changes as far as the timing of buying Bitcoin in the bear market if we've already reached the top. And it's one simple metric that I'm looking at, and everything else is built on top of when do you buy Bitcoin in the bear market. And so if you want to understand when you buy Bitcoin in the bear market, check out the bear market buying guide. It is a one-time cost of 27 hours. $27. I have 4 hours of content, 25 videos, and my goal is to get that to 100 videos before the next halving. So I will post updates. I will post different cryptocurrencies I have not talked about, but from early reports that I've seen, the bear market buying guide has been very much worth it for people. So I'd recommend you check that out. But otherwise, I will be seeing you in another video. Peace.